Hey guys, it's Troy again with another pen mail day. Wanted to share with you my latest acquisitions. So I've got three things to share with you. So I'm going to start with the newest one first. And it's what, when I say newest, I mean in terms of manufacturing. I got this one today, and it's something that's been on my list to get for a while. I found a decent deal. It just arrived from Japan in today's mail. And this is a Platinum, as you can tell by the box. And this is nothing more than a Plaisir. P-L-A-I-S-I-R. I have not inked this up yet. I've taken it out of the box, looked at it, touched it, felt it. But that's about as far as I've gotten with it, because like I said, it just showed up today. And it's not one of their top-end pens by any stretch of the imagination, but it is something that's popular. It's affordable. It's $20 or under, depending upon where you find it. And I found it on Amazon.com, and one day I just said, well, what the heck, I ordered this in an Auto Dude, which I've been wanting to add to my collection. So, but it says right here, Platinum, and here it goes on P-L-A-I-S-I-R right there on the band. So it's a plastic pen. It's got a fairly nice clear in white section here. It's got a Lamy style nib on it. I have not, like I said, I have not inked it up, but they did include a cartridge. And I realize that not all pens are going to include a converter, and I know it's one of those things, especially if you have proprietary converters and it's a money-making center for pen companies. But look, if Jinhao can include a converter on a $2 pen or a $1 pen, come on, you could include a fairly inexpensive one here as well. So the one thing about this I found, there you go. I can't tell you how well it writes, like I said, because I have not inked it up yet. So anyway, that's one of my new toys that probably within the next couple days I'll ink up my Platinum. And I don't think I've got any Platinum converters laying around, so I may have to use a cartridge. Let's see, what else did I get? Okay, you guys have been watching where I've been buying some vintage pens lately. More vintage than anything else, and this is another one from the 1920s. This is another pen from Spearbob. So spearbob.com is his website. It does have a little personalization right here, someone's name, Martha, on the side of the pen. That didn't bother me. But when you find a good supplier, you kind of stick with them, and I know I'm going to get a decent price and decent quality from Bob. So I went ahead and ordered this. This particular pen has the Good Service brand on it, and it's got some markings right here. And let me see if you can see that imprint on the side. And if not, if that doesn't show up real well, I'll see if I can get a close-up view later. But this particular pen is actually made for Sears and Roebuck in the 1920s. At least that's what I'm told. And it is produced by the National Pen Products Company. It's got a resin body and cap, navy blue. It's a gorgeous, beautiful, deep navy blue. With the gold trim, it's got the screw-off cap to it. It's got kind of a medium nib as far as how it writes. And it's gold-plated everywhere. It's lever filler. So supposedly 1920s or so. And this is more of a pocket pen or a vest pen. It's not too far off from like the Waterman 3V as far as its length. Let me show you an example of how it looks this way. Just like that. So it's not huge by any stretch of the imagination. But it also writes very nicely. So let me reach for my handy-dandy pad, and we will do a quick writing sample with this one before I move on to the next one. Now, just before I do the writing sample, I wanted to show you, this is a Waterman 32V, and this is the brand new, at least new to me, Good Service fountain pen. So you can see the length is fairly comparable. There you go. It's just a little longer here, obviously. But it is meant to be more of a pocket or a vest pen. But when you do post it, it doesn't do too bad. It's not uncomfortable I've been using it for a while, and you can see that's a decent length. And it's not all that heavy, doesn't back weight the pen, so it's a fairly decent weight for it. So just to give you an idea, I filled this thing with some Waterman, I believe Serenity Blue, which I thought was going to match the pen well. So the Good Service marketed by and sold by Sears and Roebuck from the 1920s. So it's got a nice springy nib. You can tell it's got some flex to it, some great line variation. Nice flexible, very flexible nib. Writes very nicely. So, vintage pen number 1. Not quite 100 years old. How would you like to see one that's over 100 years old? Why not? Let's do that next. This next pen, before I show you the pen, I'm going to show you a video. And I have full permission to use this video from the guy who went ahead and purchased and had refurbished this pen and put it up for sale.
Hey everybody, it's Saturday early morning and I'm working on Waterman number 12 and just finished it up. Great imprint, nickel clip cap. It's a slip cap, and it's an eyedropper, and it's got the Waterman Ideal New York number 2 nib. And here's my writing sample. Very flexible. 1.95 millimeter flex. Great responsiveness. Just a beautiful pen. The chasing's awesome on it, and it's still got a real deep black color. I'm going to be listing this one later on today, but just wanted to let you know about it. Thanks guys, have a good night or morning.
This is the writing sample that you saw in that particular video. Pretty cool, huh? He included that particular writing sample. So Greg with Antique Digger, antiquedigger.com is his website. I've been wanting to buy from him for a little while, and I've been following him on Instagram and Facebook and on his website, as well as on his eBay selling channel, or his eBay store. And one day he showed that video. I've been watching all of his other restorations. He had a lot of Parker Vacuumatics, and quite honestly I already had one, so although I like them and I wouldn't mind having another one, I said, well, I didn't have a number 12 Waterman. So when he had this particular Waterman, if indeed it is, as he says it is, from 1917, then let me share with you a few facts about 1917. You know, my grandparents were in elementary school. In 1917, Harry Houdini performed his buried alive escape. Al Capone got his famous scar from a knife fight. Buffalo Bill Cody died. World War I was raging in Europe, and U.S. had severed diplomatic relations with Germany, and eventually declared war later on that year. It was the beginning of Woodrow Wilson's second term with his inauguration. It was the year of the Russian Revolution. The U.S. bought the Virgin Islands from Denmark. Ella Fitzgerald, JFK, Dizzy Gillespie, and Senator Robert Byrd were all born in 1917. And it was prior to the 19th Amendment, so the suffrage movement was still in full swing here in the United States, if that tells you any idea of how old it is. Now, a little bit more about the Waterman. His production run of the number 12 was from 1900 till about 1925, which was the last year that this pen expert was able to find in a catalog, even though it may have run a little later. I'll put that little graphic up for you as well. But Greg had this particular pen for sale, and as you saw in that video, nice beautiful pen, and I have a nice Waterman 12. It is an eyedropper pen, so even though I can show you, the cap, gives you some close-ups, that black chased hard rubber with the number 12 on the end. And there's the cap, very simple cap, but it's a beautifully conditioned pen. It's still in great shape. You can see that the markings on the pen are still in very good shape. And I don't know if the white, I'm assuming the white markings are original, don't know for sure. And it's a slip top like you saw in that video. And there's Let's see if I can get you a close-up of that nib. But it's a nice #2 Waterman nib. So I filled this one up. Oh, let's see. Yeah, this right here with Waterman Mysterious Blue ink. And let me show you how this one writes. So this one is a Waterman 12. I mean, you saw it in the video, but at least the sample, but you didn't really see it necessarily demonstrated. This, look at this variation. It's very springy. Look at that. You can go from a very fine line, if you want to write in reverse, a very, very fine line. This is kind of a gusher if you want it to be. You give it enough pressure, you're going to get a whole lot of ink. Look at that line variation right there. I am digging this. You know, I like rigid nibs. I like flexible nibs. I'm not a big proponent of one or the other. Don't have to have one or the other for me to make me happy. I just enjoy holding a piece of history. So if this is indeed from 1917, it's definitely between 1900 and 1925. So look at this. Isn't this awesome? I mean, this has that Waterman ink in it. Has the Waterman Mysterious Blue. And I've been using this ink a lot lately. This and the Waterman Serenity Blue, because I've been doing a lot more vintage pens, and my understanding is Waterman tends to be a little more gentle with vintage stuff. So at least that's what I hear from some of the professionals who restore them for a living, that it's recommended, and they have on their benches Waterman inks. And I actually have to order some more because I'm running low on some of it. But this is an eyedropper pen, and this unscrews right there. I can't unscrew that for you right now because it's full of ink. It actually held more ink than I thought it would. I was surprised using a pipette and putting in ink down into the barrel of how much ink actually fit in this little skinny pen. I'm not much on slender pens in general, but this is it's a very nice to hold. You know, I could deal with a little more girth, and speaking of girth, that's why I'm looking at something like a Waterman 58. The Waterman 55 that I showed you a little earlier with a #5 nib on it, absolutely love it, and it's a stiff nib. You're definitely not going to get this kind of variation on a #5 stiff nib, but on this #2 you sure can. You sure can get that kind of variation. It's awesome. So I be digging it, folks. So that's my pen mail for today. Greg, thank you. I'm very happy with the pen. I'm going to probably hit you up a little while in a little while for some more work to be done, as well as perhaps some more purchases. All right, folks, that's it. My Waterman 12, my good service Sears and Roebuck pen, and my Platinum Plaisir. That is pen mail for the last 2 days or so. Enjoy. If you're looking for vintage pens, hit up antiquedigger.com, and you can click to go to his eBay listings where he has pens that are actively available, and spearbob.com. And I'll probably be continuing to rely on Spearbob as well as on Greg at Antique Digger. So thanks for watching.